All right, so I really, guys, I really would like to talk.
Oh, she told me.
Hey,
No.
okay, so guys, anybody want to say anything that made a light bulb go off? Let's talk about the doctor's opinion, what we just read, and let's talk about a little step one stuff. Does anybody in here maybe have a story about real powerlessness, like I've heard it a million times, like I'll be driving home, and I'm like, I gotta go home, I gotta make it home, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, and then suddenly I'm in the parking lot of the liquor store.
Oh, God.
You know what I mean? Like almost on autopilot, that type of stuff. So do we have any of those?
But you're already calculating that all as we go on anyway. Sort of
Yeah,
like
I
weighing it
guess,
out,
yeah,
weighing it out.
you're right, but all right, so
Kind of weighing it out.
here was my story on powerlessness that, and I told you guys this the other day, but I'm gonna tell it again. 6 months clean. Like I was saying last group, I had just done every single day I'm going to an AA meeting at 6:15 in the morning, before I go to my job. I got this is 100% true, I got my 6-month chip that day, right? On my way to work, I stopped for gas, I bumped into someone that owes me money. I gave him money at a club one night, and he's supposed to pay me back. I didn't see him for a while, and I see him, and instead of giving me the money, he gives me 7 grams of heroin.
Golly.
Listen,
Wow.
when I tell you, see, like, you know how you were saying on the way to the liquor store, you're thinking about, I wasn't thinking about
No,
heroin.
that was a surprise.
Exactly.
You got ambushed.
And when that got put in front of me,
Oh, yeah.
saying no,
That's ambush.
calling my sponsor, do you understand? None of that stuff came into play. I couldn't say yes fast enough. And when I look back on it now, I'm like, that scares me to death. You understand what I'm saying?
You know, when I first moved to Pleasant Grove by Dallas, I had $5. I got to lose it. I had $5. I thought I'd drop by me $5 worth of meth, and I went into this guy in Puerto
You
Rico.
bought $5 worth
No,
of
I
that?
had a $5. I thought I had $5.
Oh.
And I was just like, just get $5 for it. So I met this guy from Puerto Rico, and he said he didn't have it, so I spent the $5. And I was on the way back home. Here we come. Here, just take this. You gotta have this on the cool. He gave me a bunch. He gave it to you.
Yeah.
See.
And then, once you get going, right?
Yeah.
Once you get going,
Yeah.
there's no stopping us now.
No.
Because like we were reading about in that story, did that make sense to a lot of people?
No.
Because here's the thing, where's,
Racers to the left.
is there a marker over
Right
there?
here.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I told him that.
All right, whatever. But here's the thing, I just want to explain it to you, right? Because this is the cycle of addiction or alcoholism, right? We're drinking, we're using, and we're messing everything up. We had stopped before. We went, we were sober for a little bit of time, whatever. We started drinking again, and we're on our spree, right? And we get to the point where that's it. We detox. We either come to treatment, maybe we went to jail, maybe we just detox at home, whatever the case is. But we stop, right? So instead of walking that straight line to recovery and to healing and to this and that, we really don't do anything. What we're doing is we're white knuckling it, and we've decided that we're going to stop, and we promised our husband or wife or kids that we're going to stop, right? And we're going through the world, and that dis-ease of self kicks in. That restless, irritable, discontent, anxious, angry, nervous. You can put them all under just the one word, uncomfortable.
Right.
Right? We're uncomfortable. So then we finally use it again. What happens is we believe a lie. This is a lie I usually believe. I'll just do a little. Or nobody will find out. You understand what I'm saying? And because in my mind, I just want to relax. That's what I say. Anybody ever say that? Man, I just want to relax. And here's the thing, every time I've ever relapsed, whether I used again 2 months later, 2 weeks later, 2 days later, or 2 hours later, eventually I always wound up strung out and having to go back to treatment or detoxing, or, do you understand what I'm saying? Like I always wound up using every single day, wound up in a bad position, and then everybody knew, and then I had to stop it. I mean, how many,
After a while, they just knew your pattern after a while, huh?
well, here's the crazy thing, I didn't even know my pattern
But they did.
until I got clean and got sober and realized I would go to treatment, and they'd say, Mike, what happened? I said, I don't know, I was doing good, I had 5 or 6 months, you know what I mean? I was doing good. See, I didn't realize that, see, I would get messed up in my mind, because I thought, man, if you had 5 months, why can't you get 5 years? But that's not true, because you can't change the way you act unless you change the way you think. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because it's always gonna be your thoughts that get you to do the actions. You cannot change the way you act unless you change the way you think. The only way to change the way you think is you act your way into right thinking. Which means, if you're listening to this, you're effed. What you have to do is take advice from other people. What you have to do, instead of going home and sitting in front of the TV and watching ID Discovery and not doing nothing because you're depressed and you're anxious and angry and nervous and restless here, well, just get up, go to a meeting, put the feelings out there, talk about it. I mean, everybody, who in here has been outside AA meetings?
Sometimes it's just getting your ass to the meeting and you feel better.
I mean, have you ever walked out feeling worse?
Fuck no, dude.
And you might walk out feeling bad, right? Because listen, I don't know about you, but the first 4 or 5 months in early recovery, I was going through a divorce. I had a major spine surgery. I was away from my kids, my family. I'm waiting on disability. I don't have no money. I'm living at my sister's house. I'm detoxing from everything I've ever known. Do you understand what I'm saying? And here's the thing. People would be like, Mike, you're depressed. I'm like, I don't really think I'm depressed. I just think I have a real good grasp on what my life is up to, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I would say. Like, I'm fucking sad because I'm in a sad situation, right? Like, all I want to do is be able to hug my kids and tuck them in at night and do this and do that. And I'm 1,777 miles away from home because I can't even go get gas without falling into a trap. You know? And that's, I mean, that shit really scared me. That really scared me. As that, like, I want to hear, who in here? Yes, please.
Story.
Okay.
I'm Alex, for all the people
Hi,
that I
Alex.
haven't met. I wasn't feeling well, but basically, I have a lot of pride, and it was hard for me to come back knowing that when I walked out of here the first, I was like, I got this, you know, and I didn't really believe in the 12 steps, and I didn't listen. I didn't want to listen to what people were telling me I needed to do. I thought I could do it on my own, do it my way, and so basically life's been kicking my ass ever since, and it kind of took me to hit like rock bottom to get me here. I'm just so open, but it is what it is because I gotta get this shit. I was raped a month ago, and the past month I've been just blacking out every day, literally every day. Drink till I black out, wake up, do it all over again for a month.
Were you around other people, or were you completely isolating when you were doing this?
Isolating and doing that, and so I finally just said, you know what, I might not really believe in this or think that this is, but what I'm doing right now is clearly not working for me. So shit, I need to try at least something.
I mean,
give it a try.
Listen, I'm about to cry. That's exactly it. Because definitely because here's the thing, I promise you guys, a lot of us have trauma. A lot of us have pain and trauma that we haven't dealt with. What you don't reveal, you cannot heal. And you have to heal that, because if you don't heal it, that'll be the stuff that you drink over. You know what I mean? That's not coping with anything. Listen, whatever don't kill you can make you stronger. Asterisk, if you deal with it in a sober and healthy way. Because you deal with that in a sober and healthy way, and guess what? And then you can go out there and help other people that have been through that, and it doesn't make what happened to you right, but if you can help someone else through it, it gives it a little bit of a purpose and a meaning.
I know it wasn't my fault.
No,
but
of course
my
not.
drinking put me in that situation.
Yeah.
And I know that I don't want to go good again. I don't want, next time I could be killed.
Why do you think I asked you when you were drinking if you were isolating?
Yeah.
Because, guys, here's the messed up part too about it. A lot of times when people go through something like that, they don't deal with it, they stuff it down, they might not tell anybody, and they continue drinking, and they put themselves out there, and it's like, the shit that's destroying them, and the most painful shit, I don't want to say inviting into them, but do you understand what I'm saying? They're putting themselves in risky situations where that could happen again. And it's scary. I mean, it's not.
I put myself in very reckless, dangerous situations when I drink like that. And this is the first time I've been sober So now it's kind of hitting me.
Oh,
So I don't want sympathy from nobody. I just ask that you guys have patience with me because I'm dealing with a lot right now.
I don't think, I'll be honest, I don't think any of us, well, most of us really don't want sympathy. What do we want?
Encouragement.
Understanding,
Yeah.
right? Like understanding, yeah, like I don't want you, I am not, like, I don't want you to ever feel bad for me, but maybe you can understand. And love is the highest form of understanding. So when you put something out there and people talk to you about it, and I'm sure there's been other people that have been through that, and if we're all each other's crutches, nobody can fall too far. And this is how we have to help each other heal through this type of stuff. Because if you don't heal through that, if you don't deal with that, if you don't deal with your trauma, it's gonna deal with you, and it's just, it's never gonna get better. Whatever don't kill you can make you stronger if you deal with it in a sober and healthy way. If you don't, whatever don't kill you will just kill you in the long run. You know what I mean? Like, and here we are, we're doing this type of stuff. It's like every single person in here, like I say all the time, I'll ask the women and the men, how long did it take you to get ready this morning? Like, take a shower, put your clothes on, maybe you ironed, maybe you didn't, I don't know, brush your teeth. Let's just say 15, right? 15 minutes. Did anybody in here ever even dedicate 15 minutes to their spiritual or mental health this morning? And maybe we did because we're in here, but I'm talking about on the outside, right? Like on the outside, like, oh, we'll take care of our physical health, but will we take care of our mental and our spiritual health? Like, because a human being is 3 parts, and we need to take care of that stuff, and we need to, and here's the thing about a human being, they are really, really tough and resilient and can heal from a lot of things, but it has to be done the right way. Anybody in here know what it's like to stuff it down and deal with, you know, well, like, kind of blow it off, like, well, what can you do? It is what it is, right? I don't give a fuck.
Or
Say
drink it away, smoke it away,
Yeah.
try to get rid of, cover it up,
And what are you really doing?
just
Stuffing it down.
down, yeah.
And then it winds up coming out in other behavior like drinking or risk-taking behavior or risk-taking sexual behavior. Whatever, it comes out in other ways. Do you understand? Does that make sense to you guys?
This time I came back, I've humbled myself, and I'm actually like listening, and I really want to get it right this time because I don't want to. Yeah.
It says in the book, it says alcohol became a great persuader, and that we had to be beaten into a state of reasonableness. You say you come in humble. That's what happens when you get your ass kicked. And I'm not talking about the situation that you were in. I'm talking about the way we, because listen, like I said, let's not pretend that it was a party. It has not been a party for a long time. When you can't get enough, when you're scared to death to run out, when you wake up hungover every morning and the only thing that gets you by that hangover is another drink or another snort or whatever it is, you are a slave. You know what I mean? This thing is the king and you are the whatever.
Sir.
Peasants. You know what I mean? We are bowing down to that king and we are living every moment to, we don't want to run out. We don't want anybody to know. We don't want anybody to know how much. If they know, they definitely don't know how much, right? Anybody in here ever really truthful about how much they do or drink or this and that? No, just 2 beers. That's the best. You ever see someone get pulled over on cops? Nobody ever says 1 beer and nobody ever says 3.
I said 11.
It's always 2.
There was one guy that said, yeah,
I said
I've had
11.
1 beer and 1 shot. Well, no, and they, sure enough, they took his blood alcohol level and it was 1 beer and 1 shot worth of it.
Sure
But
enough.
he was older.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, sure enough, that definitely sounds like the exception, not the rule. Every person I've ever seen, yeah, I've had a couple.
Yeah, well, because he was saying on it, yeah, I only had 1 beer and 1 shot, and even the cops were like, wow, you only had that. You're driving like a dumbass.
Yeah, well, yeah. So guys, like I really, we need, if we're gonna have a conversation, I need you guys to share, to talk, and tell me some step 1 stuff. Tell me, yes, RJ.
So I was powerless over alcohol before my son was born. Like, I'm not denying that, but I truly hoped and believed that when he was born, something would switch in my head, like I would change. But it really messed me up when he was born and I was still going on dating.
Yeah, because now the guilt's times 2 or 3, right? Because how many of us were kids? Like, how many times have other people said that, like, you know, you got a great wife or a husband, a job, or kids, like, why can't you stop for them, right? Here's the thing, if it was up to us, if it was a choice, what would we have chosen a long time ago? I mean, and it maybe not sober, but we definitely would have chose to not fuck everything up. We would have chose to be able to control our drink.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the thing. Like, if we could control it, we would have.
We would be here right now.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, let's not kid ourselves. Let's not kid ourselves. Let's really try to get a good grasp on how powerful, strong this thing is, how bad it's been kicking your ass. Like I said, like, I don't know about you, but I couldn't even look in the mirror. I couldn't stand the sight of myself. I mean, you know, I would tell my ex-wife and sister, like, I know you guys lost respect for me. I lost respect for myself a long time ago. And I say, no, you're good. You just need to, you know, and man. So let's go, listen, introduce yourself.
My name is Sean, and I call.
Hey, Sean.
Give me a step, give me like where you know that you can't do this by yourself. Give me something.
Well, it's real simple, you know, when I don't get my way and anger comes in and I get in self-pity, there's only one thing to do, and that's to go get a beer. That's my friend. He ain't gonna tell me no. It'll make me feel better, and then I think better, and then the bad thing about it, if one's too many and 12's not enough.
1,000, right? Well, here's the thing. I like what you said about you called it your friend. Here's the deal.
That's for
Well, I don't care if you've been married, I don't care what it is, there's been no more close and personal and intimate relationship you've ever had than it is with that. We always looked at it to get us where we needed to be. You know what I'm saying? Like when you hear someone say ride or die, like that was our ride or die. Why do you think the husbands or the wives or the people get so mad? We put that above everything else. And here's the thing. Our actions and everything we do puts that above that. But like, if I could give you the choice right now, like I know you've got daughters and grandkids and stuff like that, you lay down on a train track for them, right? Like they're what's the most important thing in your life, but yet our actions say this. I mean, this thing is powerful, 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 powerful. Somebody else give me something. Amos, come on. Where you knew you were fucked. Like you were like, this is not, I cannot control this. Don't shake your head, give me a story.
I used to, when I used to go to the meetings, IOP, I would, I'd actually buy some fake piss and heat it up, warm it up and everything. And then when I go to IOP, they don't go with you to the bathroom. So, you know, I go in there and put it in there and I pass, you know. But then I'll have me a little baggie. And then when I get done with IOP, on the way home, I'll stop and give you a couple of beers and, you know, do a go.
Were you in IOP because of court mandated stuff?
No. I just continued from therapy from the PHP.
See, think about how conflicted someone must be. Because I know, like, sometimes people show up to AA meetings drunk or under the influence, and some people get mad at them. And I'm always like, dude, can't you see how much pain that person's in? Where, like, they can't stop living like this, but this is actually really where they want to be.
I've actually been to AA high.
Yeah.
I did a couple of bumps and went to AA high, and actually made a comment while I was high. That's fucked up. I really is.
Well, but
I made sense of my comment, but fuck, I looked at myself. I thought to myself, how could you fucking do something like that? So,
Well, do you see what I'm saying? Where the conflict is?
yeah.
Like, because let's be real. If what you were doing was okay with you, would you show up to IOP or AA meetings under the influence? No. Because I'm telling you, this is where the torture goes on. It's that conflict and that war up in here. We know we shouldn't. We know we don't want to. We really don't want to. We want to be sober, but we don't know any other way. And there's always something, because that's, like last group where I was talking about the spiritual awakening or experience or the psychic change, that when that obsession gets lifted, because listen, what's it like when the urge or the craving or whatever to get high, that shit hits us like a sledgehammer, right? We can't hear no reason, we can't hear nothing else, all we hear is get high. We're on a mission. We're high before we're even high, right?
Yeah, my wife used to tell me, I used to think that, I can get away with it and hide it so good, but my wife used to say, truth is gonna come out eventually.
Yeah.
The truth does come out.
Yeah.
It won't come out today, tomorrow, next week, but it's gonna come out eventually one day. I never believed it, sure enough it did, man. You know, it came out and I was, that's, I've been busted.
Well, here's the thing. Didn't you believe it a little bit though?
I did. I did.
You know what I'm saying? Because like it is like.
I did a little bit.
Yeah, no, I agree because I've been in that situation too. I've been in that situation where I knew it was about
That's
the
your
whole-
ego.
Yeah.
Well, and it's,
Yeah.
it's also that's how powerful the addiction is, that it's like you try to hold on to it with everything you can. Vanessa, give me something. Something where you're like, man, this is destroying my life. I can't do this anymore. Like a real,
There's many things. I
give
mean,
me one good one.
losing a job, flipping my car over 3 times.
Ooh, I didn't even know about that.
Yeah. And they didn't breathalyze me. Thank God. But yeah, I flipped my car over 3 times, ended up upside down, like crawled out the door. And then, not paying rent on time. When I usually always did, I always have taken care of shit. Promising my son I wasn't gonna drink again and getting the shake, so I had to drink.
Yeah.
Just many things.
That's a tough one, right?
Oh, that's the guilt. Like, you never forget that shit.
They can't understand.
Yeah.
Listen, here's the real deal. Nobody can understand this unless you're this. Now, adults and loved ones, they can really, really try, but I'll tell you, it's somebody who's never gonna, is a kid or a grandkid. Because they're gonna look at it and be like, why can't you? You know what I mean? Like, they
Like,
can't
they're not
understand.
good enough.
Exactly. Like, why is this, why do you love that? I mean, oh God, this thing destroys us from the inside out, and then it messes everything up around us. And yet we can't, it says it right, the chapter we were reading before, we feel like our alcoholic lives is the only one, like, I'm paraphrasing, but it's like I say all the time, it's like, we want to live a different way, but we don't know any other way. And what I always say all the time is, no matter how hard I try to live another way, no matter how hard I try to decide that things were going to be different this time, it always led back to the same place.
I know, like lately, fentanyl's getting pretty big right now, and they're mixing that up with cocaine now.
I know,
And
that's
I've
really
been-
crazy.
I've been really, worried about, when I would score some, to 40 or 50, I would worry about that, the fentanyl, but then I would have the fucking, just try it and see what happens.
Yeah.
I didn't give a shit, I just wanted to get high, but
I feel victim of that.
Well, isn't it crazy? I'm going to get right to you in a second, Forrest. Isn't it crazy how we can put our faith in a chemical or a substance so strongly? But but not put it into God or the group or AA. But here's why. But this makes sense. We know what that shit is.
Yes, we know.
And it worked for us for a long time. You know what I mean? So it's like, whatever, like putting your faith in something, because listen, I could tell you it works over and over and over, and I guarantee for the most part, you guys believe I'm telling you the truth. But you believe that it could work for you. That's a different thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to believe something that has never come to fruition for you. You know what I mean? Like I told you, when they told me I could be happy being sober, I literally tell them, you make 0 sense. I've been
Something
this,
tangible.
I've been this way for 39 years of my life. You're telling me it can be different? Like I said, like, it didn't make any sense. Forrest, give me a good story, and I don't mean a story like a war story, but like something where you were like, this shit is just,
Kicking my ass.
yeah.
Man, it's gonna have to be probably 2 years ago. Fucking owing money to dope dealers, fucking them driving by, shooting at me while I'm fucking standing at the corner with my fucking cardboard sign, trying to get more money for another dope dealer, and just fucking the self-esteem, the lack of self-esteem, and the shit that fucking standing there with a cardboard sign, homeless veteran. Which I don't even know why I wrote fucking homeless on there. It's pretty obvious. You know? Fucking, and getting money and going straight to fucking places where they treat me like fucking shit. And fucking the death is just right around the fucking corner, man. I mean, straight up, dude. Fucking, I hear people talk about the rock bottoms all the time, you know, going to jail, losing kids. Man, I've sat there and I've listed them all up. Jail, institutionalized, fucking homelessness, fucking, I've checked every single box except for fucking death.
Well,
So-
dude, that's the only, that's,
For me, that's my only rock bottom would
That's-
be death, because I kept drinking and drugging when I checked all those fucking marks.
listen, that's the thing, the only real bottom is death. Or, like what this young lady was talking about, right? If she comes in, leaves, stays sober, and works the steps, and she can look back at it and say, that was my bottom. Why? Because she's come up. You know what I mean? See, here's the thing. You continue to use, and the only bottom there is death. You know what I mean? It might take you a while to get there, it might get you quickly. But that's I mean, let's be real. By definition, this disease is progressive, incurable, and fatal. It literally says that in the definition. So death is, and you know, us hard drug users, we're coming up on it fast. You alcoholics is a little bit slower to death. If you don't crash your car and flip it 3 times and happen to break your neck or fall, you know what I mean? So it could, listen, when you guys leave here, you could not make it one day if you start using. I mean, there was a young lady that used to sit right over there. She came in here for heroin. She was gone. She left. She was sober for 9 months, and she came back. And when she came back, it was, you know, she was in the same situation as you. And I just had 9 months, and everything was good, and I fucked it up, and I don't want to be here. I hate it. You know what I mean? And she, long story short, she ran up out of here after 3 weeks. Had her dad come pick her up, a surprise, this and that. And I said, come on, I'm gonna go tell your dad that you shouldn't go. And this, that. No, I'm like, please. You know, and we had like 25, 30 people here. I was here by myself. I was in the middle of doing a group. And I said, man, I'm not, all right, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't think I was gonna be able to change her mind. Her dad was gonna be here. She overdosed 8 hours later and died.
Damn.
22, 23 years old. Never gets another chance to come back into a place like this. And I remember telling my father, like, man, I really wish I would have went out there and talked to her father. And you know, and my dad put it in a good perspective. He said, and what if you did? And he took her home anyway. And now the whole time he'll be saying, I should have listened to that guy. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, that's true too. You know? But it's like, you never know when this is gonna be your last opportunity.
Your time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And life is too short to be miserable, upset, to be hurting everybody. We're gonna go around the room right now, and I want everybody to tell me their biggest fear. And I don't wanna hear like getting eaten by a shark or like, you know, monkeypox or whatever. Like, I wanna hear the type of shit, like if you're on your deathbed, the type of stuff you're saying, man, I wish I would, you know, because listen, this is the real deal. When people are on their deathbed, they're not talking about like, I wish I bought a nicer boat. You know what I mean? Most of the time it's, I wish I was more loving, I wish I was more kind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, regrets.
So, yeah, so I want to know, like, just give me, you know, my thing, listen, this was my thing. My thing was just having to have my kids go to my funeral. That was like my biggest fear. Like, my oldest daughter was at my brother's funeral, and like, I didn't want that. That was my biggest fear. So, go ahead.
I think mine would probably have to be being alone.
Good, yeah,
What, being alone?
yeah. Go ahead, Brian.
I don't want my mom to have to bury me.
I mean, how devastating would that be for her? Because like my mom had to bury my brother, and I promise you, you start hearing stuff like, parents are not made to bury their children. You know what I mean? Like it is, my aunt had passed away when, not exactly sure what age, but my grandmother was about 75 or something like that. And I mean, that shit destroyed her. You know what I mean? Like destroyed her. I'm like, damn.
Incarceration.
That's your biggest fear. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I'd rather die.
Really? But I'm saying that's your biggest fear. You got 5 daughters. Okay.
I won't go to jail.
Yeah, they forget about you.
Oh, you said Michael over there, you I see you.
They forget about you.
I'm no good if I'm in jail.
That's a fact. Hold on, I'm coming to everybody. Kristen, go ahead. Let me
They
just fix
forget
this.
about you in prison too.
Huh?
They forget about you in jail too.
Go ahead, Kristen. Biggest fear. Pardon me?
I mean, come to my funeral,
Yeah. Grow
but
up
scared of
with
it?
it.
No.
Okay,
I
alright.
mean, my
I'll
fear
come.
is that like maybe I'll lie or misplace something to God, but he already knows I'm ADHD anyway.
Okay, Eddie.
My fear is dying while using drugs.
In a bathroom somewhere.
Yeah, even at your house.
Yeah.
Yeah, dying alone,
Alone.
and alone in a motel room or something.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Newsflash, unless you're involved in a mass shooting or something, we're all gonna die alone. But like, to die without anybody loving us or, you know what I'm saying? Like that would, I get what you guys are saying.
Yeah, yeah.
Pardon me.
I'm an alcoholic.
Forrest.
I got a few of them now. One being alone, one big one, but probably dying for nothing.
Which is drug addiction, right? Like, there ain't no cause or purpose to that.
And it wouldn't be from an overdose, it would be from a fucking dope dealer. I know, because I've done a lot to fucking overdose and it hasn't happened.
Yeah.
But the motherfuckers out there will kill you over fucking $5 rock that you owe.
Yeah.
Just to get fucking name for themselves. The younger ones, that's a fucking living.
Vanessa.
Probably not being able to show my kids a sober mother for the rest of their lives.
Marsha?
Losing my entire family to my addiction.
Do you remember my name?
You just made eye contact with me.
I'm not scared of death or anything, just what would happen to my sister if I died. 'Cause, yeah.
Devastated, right?
No, just what she'd do. 'Cause I know her and I know what she does when bad things happen. So, and we're all each other have, so. Yeah.
Okay.
I think mine would be, is it's already happened almost, I'm already alone, so it doesn't scare me being alone, I've always been alone. Mine was, getting drunk, getting high, and then I like to cook, and I left the stove on one time, burning up in a fire.
Mm.
That's mine. Because I passed out, you know, when I started drinking vodka, you don't know that. Or when I drink vodka or whiskey, I have a pattern of, I get so high with it, then it becomes like I fall asleep all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And
And
I
pass
cook,
out.
and I sometimes I get complacent. I put something in the stove, and like a roast or something, I forget, and let the stove on. And then the alarm went off and woke me up. And I ran, it dawned on me how to shit the stove. And I fear burning up in the fire, because it's already happened to me almost. That's real, because I like to lay down. It's, I'm gonna get it in like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and I pass out, you know. That just called a blackout, really. And then burn the house down.
Well, outside of what you said, which would obviously be horrible, you know, having my wife and my 2 sons, especially my 13-year-old, have to bury me. I guess the second worst, or probably equally as bad, would be them willingly outcasting me completely.
Getting fed
Because
up.
of my, fed up and just lose all just outcast me, and never speak to me again, and resent me for the rest of my life. I mean,
that'd be terrible, because that would be my 13-year-old son consciously making this
Yeah, and
decision
you'd have to
not to.
you'd have to live through that every day.
Yeah.
One thing, my second to last is, me not being able to stay sober when I get out of here. And the first one is, my people are getting a phone call saying that I died of an overdose.
Okay.
My mom, she's getting older, and I know she's not gonna be here forever, and I put her through so much. My biggest fear is that, when that day comes, like, I want her to be proud of me. Like, I want her to, not see me as this alcoholic daughter that's always passed out drunk in the house. Like, I want her to see, like, the
Okay.
best part of me.
Yes, because here's the thing, she's probably still proud of you. She's probably upset with you because, when she's watching you, I mean, that's the thing, when you love somebody and you watch them drowning.
It's killing her.
Yeah, well, here's, yeah.
That being lonely is really a tough one, because I think that's a lot of what is the reason I use it, is being lonely.
Yeah.
Because me, I don't really have any family. I got my sister and my dad. Other than that, I ain't got nobody.
Yeah.
Really. I'm by myself, so so I do what I want to do. I told in the group this morning. So I'm lonely, so I just use it. I'm not better than use. I ain't hurt nobody but me.
Yeah.
My sister and my dad too, but I don't think about that.
Well, we don't think about that when we do it. I mean, how many times have we told ourselves a lie and told other people the lie? I'm only hurting myself.
That's not true.
Well, but am I the only one? I used to say that shit all the time.
Yeah, I got one more fear.
Yeah.
Fear of me being drunk or fucking up for days driving, hitting a pedestrian, hitting family, having that on my fucking conscience.
That'd be tough.
I don't know how the fuck I come back from that.
Honestly, dude, if you're anything like me, and I think you are, that'd be the time where you can't. Because there's no coming back from that, right? Like, no matter how good you do it, no matter how much you try, no matter how much good you put out in that world, carrying that on your shoulder.
I've already wrecked fucking 3 vehicles drunk, and I've gotten 2 DWIs. And, I mean, it's just the fucking thought that, my track record of drinking and driving, there's just only a matter of time before there is another vehicle in front of me.
Alright, so here's the thing, and that's a, what would you call it, that's a very serious situation right there. And we have some that, whatever, here's the thing, do you realize that if you continue to use, for the most of the part of the stuff you guys said, you will bring that right to your front door. That may never happen for us, but all the stuff, yeah, and a high possibility, especially with, you run around in a trap long enough and you're gonna get trapped in a trap. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be, yeah.
And going on with what Jeff said, yeah, my boys don't talk to me. I haven't talked to them in 5 years. We haven't spoken. And I know what it's like to bury a son too. I lost a son in '98. He was shot and killed, gang related. And he was 16 years old. So I know what it's like to lose a kid and then not to have the kids talk to you.
Now, I don't know what your situation is, but do you believe that, the relationship can be mended?
I've tried communicating with them. I've done everything I possibly can. And it wasn't because of that. It's because of something else. I've done everything I possibly can to make amends with them. But man, I just don't get no word. They don't.
I haven't seen my son since he was 18 months old. He's 5 now because of my drinking and driving.
That's what, I mean, because, listen, relationships can be repaired. I'm not saying every one of them can, but let's be real. For the most part, the stuff that you guys said, you will bring right to your front door if you don't stop drinking. So here's the thing, the biggest fear you have, yes?
I think we cut off Alexander.
Did I?
Oh, yeah, but it's not big.
No, I'm sorry. I did not mean to cut you off, dude.
No, it's okay. I was just gonna say, earlier when you said, like, drug use can be instant death, but alcohol is, like, long-term. That's what happened with my dad. He died. My mama had to bury him. He was an alcoholic. His heart. And then my grandfather, he got drunk and passed out in a trailer and with a cigarette lid, and it caught fire. He died of smoke inhalation. And so it's like been my grandma, my grandpa, my dad, now it's me, and my mom is dealing with this.
Yeah.
And then I understand what I'm doing to her, and I just feel like I can only say how I drink. And I'm 4'11", I'm not that big, and I'm drinking like liters of vodka, like. You can die from drinking that kind of amount.
You're right.
Because my tolerance is so so high from drinking so long. Like, I'm able to consume that dangerous amount without passing out first. And so I'm scared that, like, I'm gonna leave here this time and I'm like gonna get upset about something or think about some trauma or something, and then I'm just gonna drink till I'm gone.
Yeah.
Where we gotta have that defense.
That's what we need. Yeah, and that's why, if you have to, dear, go to sober living after this. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Well, here's the thing, I'm trying to tell you, your greatest fears. So if this is the shit you're trying to avoid, it seems like to me you should be doing everything you can to try to avoid that. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because that's how serious this thing is. Everything that you guys said is a possibility if you continue drinking. Most of the stuff you guys said, you will bring that shit to your front door fast. Who in here has kids? Okay, this is the thing. As drug addicts and alcoholics, for the most part, your kids will probably still love you, but man, they'll be stuck with you. And they'll have resentment, and they'll give you the side eye, and you know, whatever. But as a sober person, they'll be proud of you. I mean, doesn't that seem like the only option? I mean, they will be proud that you're their dad or their mom or whatever. And, you know, I've seen the craziest I've seen couples that were divorced get remarried because someone got sober and got their shit together. I've seen people that didn't talk to their kids. I'm not going to say who, somebody that comes here for outside AA meetings, and, you know, I've seen stuff like that. I mean, you know, but using over it and doing all that, like, that's never going to make anything better. Can we all agree that, like, whatever problem that you got going on right now, if you leave and get high,
It's not gonna get better.
Oh, and then you're stuck with this shit. Man, I just went to treatment. I just had 5, 10, 15, 35, 45 days. Like, I had a little bit, and I was feeling
372 days.
I was feeling a little bit better. Because listen, I've seen every single one of you in here laugh and have a good time, and you know, I know you just got here, but last time you were.
Yeah.
But you'll be okay.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. One second.
Okay, now I thought more.
Okay,
You came
good.
up on me too fast.
I'm sorry. You could always pass.
No, I guess I am scared that my children, especially my girls, will grow up motherless like I did. I have the same thing,
Yeah.
overdose.
Yeah, I mean, the cycle. Here's the thing about the cycle, like in what you're doing. There's a cycle of abuse and addiction and all this shit. There's also a cycle of recovery. And I tell you guys this all the time, right? Like, I was not the voice of reason or the healthy one in my family. And I am now. I mean, my sister has went to, you know what I mean? Like, this is what comes, and people ask me for advice, and you can help other people. It feels good to help somebody through something. It feels good to give somebody some understanding, a hug, a joke, of this, or whatever. I mean, that's what, listen, we will not put on earth to isolate and destroy ourselves and to drink and act silly and, you know, hate ourselves. I mean, that's why do you think the conflict is going on up in here? Because you're not living the way you were made to live. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, that conflict, that's the self-hate and the conflict is the worst part of this thing. Fuck detox, that shit's easy. It's a physical thing, whether it takes a few days or a few months.
Well, I can't say that right now.
But listen, I promise you, next week at this time, these couple of days, you'll be like, well, it wasn't that bad. But the shit that goes on in here, if we don't get that shit straight, that's the shit that eats us up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a video that when I was at Aon, Florida, that they showed us a video about this alcoholic. I don't know if you guys ever seen it before, but he would get the help, but he would continue drinking. He was homeless. I don't know if you know. Do you know what that?
I don't.
that
It's not
story
ringing
is?
a bell.
That's what it is, but I mean, it's really good video and a documentary about this one individual. And maybe you might want to look into that. Maybe we could see that because it's really good. It's an eye opener.
I believe that if we were able to clone ourselves and make a twin of ourselves and be able to follow ourselves while we're in active addiction and we're out there and we're seeing what we look like when we're under the influence, what we look like, and see how we treat other people and see the stuff we do, oh man, that'd be a great way. It's like I said, it's like putting the mirror in front of our face we could actually see. Because me and Forrest were talking before, and it's like the crazy part of this, the worst part of this disease is the denial. We don't know how much trouble we're in. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, RJ.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I like that because it is hard to see yourself when you're in the addiction. Or see what you're doing.
Because we're looking out this way. You know what I mean? We're not looking in this way, and we're not seeing what other people are seeing. Yes.
Well, I was gonna add to my kids, besides my kids, my nieces and nephews, and my great nieces and nephews. Yeah, I've got quite a bit.
Well, guys, here's
I'm
the
only
thing,
on
like
my
getting
house.
to what you said, or what you said.
I'm the only one.
Most people in here have people on the outside that love for them and care for them, and like if you pass away, you'd be leaving a huge hole. Do you understand what I'm saying? Here's the thing, as human beings, we have a moral and social obligation to each other. Right? Like even think about if we just had a new client that came in here and all of a sudden he just started moving everything around and putting his feet up on, we'd all be like, oh, what's wrong? Don't you have any, you know what I mean? This is not how regular society works. We have a responsibility, and here's the thing, if you got people out there, you have the responsibility to give them your best. You know what I'm saying? They deserve your best.
My mom's even, I don't know, you know this or not. My mom's, she's also in recovery. She got 7 years, so. But she's told me, man, like I have a sister, but she's told me personally that if something were to happen to me, if I were to die, there's no, she could have survived. It would kill her. She would fucking relapse. She could kill herself if I were to die. So, and I don't ever take that shit into consideration when I'm out there fucking using or drinking.
Because we're nose wide open, blinders on, like we're in that mode.
And she seen me out there, bro. The cardboard sign drove right past me.
Think
Thank
about,
God.
and this is the thing, think about what that did to her.
Yeah, man.
When you have a kid, you don't ever picture them this. You know, I mean, let's, like I said, as a drug addict and alcoholic, liar, cheat, and a thief. Every mother, husband, wife, uncle, everybody's dream, right? But that's what we are. And listen, it's not our intentions, but that's what we're doing. And hey, guys, spoiler alert, every single person in here is better than that. You have to have that voice that says, fuck that, I'm better than this, I'm not going out like that. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not going out like that. I'm not. I'm better than this. And it might be hard in the beginning because this shit will be kicking your ass. Early recovery is not fun. But you just gotta hold on for a little bit and let this thing take on. And once that shit kicks in, don't ever look back. All right, guys, go. Smoke cigarettes and everything. Be back at 7 for the meeting. I love you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, wait.